You ever notice how when you're going through something big, something that kind of changes everything, it's like everyone wants to give you advice.
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely.
especially for new moms, right? It's like information overload. Everyone's got an opinion, a tip, a must-have gadget.
It can be overwhelming.
Totally overwhelming. And today we're diving into a topic that's really close to a lot of our listeners' hearts. We're going to be talking about journaling and how it can be a game changer, especially for new moms.
Real anchor, yeah.
We've been digging into a bunch of different sources, articles on journaling in general, some really fascinating stuff about journals that are specifically designed for new moms, even some pieces about Lestallion journals, which we know a lot of you are already big fans of.
Yeah, they've really got a following.
They do. And our mission here isn't to just skim the surface. We want to go deep, really explore how journaling can be more than just like a Dear Diary kind of thing. How can it actually help new moms process all the emotions, document this incredible journey, and maybe even make it a little bit easier to manage the chaos?
Because, let's be honest, becoming a mom is, well, it's a whirlwind.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Yeah. And, all the sources we've been looking at, they really capture that. You've got the incredible joy, those first smiles, the bonding moments.
Oh, so sweet.
Sweetest. But then there's the sleep deprivation, the constant worry, the emotional ups and downs.
Definitely ups and downs.
It's a lot to handle. And in all of that, you need a space, a safe space, to just kind of unpack it all. And that's where journaling can be so powerful. It's like a judgment-free zone where you can just be real,
Yeah, and not feel like you have to have it all figured out.
Exactly.
And it's interesting when you think about it that even the type of journal you choose can make a difference. Like we were looking at these Lestallion journals.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about those.
They're so thoughtfully designed. Like, for example, they use this thick 120 GSM paper so you can write on both sides without the ink bleeding through.
That's smart.
Yeah.
You don't want your thoughts getting all smudged together.
Exactly. And 211 pages, so plenty of space to capture everything. Plus, they have a faux leather cover, which makes them feel really luxurious.
Durable, too, I bet.
Oh, yeah. They've thought about the fact that this journal is going to be tossed in a diaper bag, maybe even get spit up on a few times.
Reality of mom life, right?
Totally. And here's the thing that I think is genius, especially for new moms who are, let's face it, juggling a million things. They have a built-in table of contents.
Ooh, that's handy.
Isn't it? I mean, think about it. You're tracking feedings, diaper changes, maybe trying to squeeze in some self-care, plus you've got all these emotions you're processing. With a table of contents, you can organize it all, find what you need quickly.
So you don't have to flip through 100 pages to find that one precious moment you want to remember.
Exactly. And they've got different styles, too. A5 softcover, A5 hardcover, even all these cool colors. Like there's the Arajol, which comes in this really sleek ash gray black.
Sounds sophisticated.
It is. And then the Guarano, which is like a warm cocoa brown.
Well, that's nice. So you can pick one that really speaks to you.
Exactly. And it really makes you realize that these aren't just notebooks. They're tools, almost like companions for this journey.
Right. Because why would a new mom even need a special journal? Right? Like, what's the point?
Well, it goes way beyond just being a diary. I mean, on a practical level, it's amazing for organization, like you said, keeping track of feedings, doctor's appointments, all of that. But it's like a sanctuary for your thoughts and feelings.
That personal sanctuary, as one of the articles called it.
Yes, a place where you can be completely honest with yourself. Because sometimes those thoughts, the doubts, the fears, they're not things you necessarily want to share with everyone.
Especially when you feel like you're supposed to have it all together.
Right, like you're supposed to be this glowing, happy mom all the time.
But that's not real life, is it? And journaling gives you permission to be real, to acknowledge the full spectrum of what you're going through. And when you're choosing a journal, the features really do matter, don't they?
They do. Like we mentioned, the Lestallion journals, they have that durable binding, the thick 120 GSM paper, and that built-in table of contents like we talked about. It's a game changer for organization.
Plus, they've got numbered pages, which makes using the table of contents even easier.
Makes total sense. And I love that some of their journals have dashed lined pages.
Oh, yeah. That's versatile.
Super versatile. You can do lists. You can just brain dump. You can get creative with it.
And their lines are 7.5 millimeters wide, which might sound like a small detail, but...
It makes a difference when you're sleep deprived and trying to read your own handwriting.
Right. Every little bit helps. And don't forget about the back pocket.
Oh, yes. Such a smart addition.
Perfect for tucking away little mementos.
A first photo, a lock of hair, a little note from your partner.
Turns it into a real keepsake.
It does. Okay, so we've talked about how practical journaling can be, but let's talk about the emotional side of things, because I think that's where it really shines, especially for new moms.
Absolutely. Journaling can be so powerful for processing all the intense emotions that come with this huge life transition.
Like, we've been calling it a whirlwind, and it really is. One minute you're on top of the world, the next you're feeling completely lost and overwhelmed.
And it's all valid. It's all part of the experience. And journaling gives you a way to acknowledge and process all of it without judgment.
Exactly. You don't have to censor yourself. You don't have to pretend to be okay. You can just let it all out on the page.
And that can be so freeing, can't it?
It can. And, studies have actually shown that journaling can reduce stress and anxiety and even boost emotional resilience.
Because you're not keeping all those feelings bottled up inside. You're giving them an outlet, a way to be expressed and released.
And one technique that we came across in our research is gratitude journaling. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's so simple, but so effective. Just taking a few minutes each day to write down a few things you're grateful for.
It helps shift your focus, doesn't it?
Right.
Especially when you're in the thick of things, and it's easy to get bogged down by the challenges.
It really does. It makes me think of my friend Sarah. After her first baby, she was feeling so overwhelmed, so isolated, like she felt like she wasn't doing anything right. And her sister got her a Lestallion journal, one of the soft cover ones in that gorgeous Arajua color.
Oh, nice.
At first, Sarah wasn't sure if she'd actually use it, but she started trying to write down just one thing she was grateful for each day. A smile from her baby, a supportive text from a friend, a hot shower.
The little things.
Exactly. And she told me later that it really helped. It wasn't like it magically solved all her problems, but it was like a little ray of light in the darkness.
It's a reminder that even when things are tough, they're still good to be found.
Right. And speaking of practical things, I know someone out there is thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but when am I supposed to find time to journal? I barely have time to brush my teeth. So what advice do we have for those super busy new moms?
The good news is you don't need a lot of time. Even 5 or 10 minutes can make a difference. And you don't have to write a novel.
Right. It's not about perfection. It's about making it work for you.
Absolutely. Start small, be kind to yourself. Even a few bullet points, a quick list, or a couple of sentences about your day can be enough.
And don't be afraid to use prompts. Those can be so helpful when you're feeling stuck or you just don't know where to start.
Oh, for sure. Some good ones are, what made me smile today? What's one thing I learned today? Or what's one thing I did for myself today?
Love those. And, making your journal easily accessible can make a big difference. Keep it by your bed, in your diaper bag, wherever you're most likely to have a few spare minutes.
Make it part of your routine, like maybe while you're feeding the baby or right before you go to sleep.
Or even during those middle of the night feedings when you're up anyway. And don't forget to revisit your entries from time to time.
Yes. It's amazing to look back and see how far you've come.
And you might even notice patterns in your thoughts and feelings, which can be really helpful for understanding yourself better. Now, what about those days when you're just completely exhausted? Like the thought of writing anything, even a few words, just feels impossible.
Totally get it. On those days, just keep it super short, like one sentence.
Yeah.
Or even just a word, whatever you can manage.
No pressure.
Yeah.
And if you're staring at a blank page, feeling totally lost, go back to those prompts.
They can help you get unstuck. And consistency, that's key too, right?
It is. The more you can make journaling a regular habit, the more benefits you'll get from it. And, it's funny, we were talking about the Lestallion journals earlier, and some of their features, like the dash lines and the generous line spacing, they can actually make the process a little easier, especially when you're feeling tired.
Makes sense. It's like they've thought of everything to make journaling as simple and enjoyable as possible.
They really have. Okay, so we've talked about the practical and emotional benefits of journaling, but there's another aspect we want to touch on, which is personal growth.
Because journaling isn't just about documenting your experiences. It's about learning and growing from them.
It is, but how does that happen exactly? Like just by writing stuff down?
Well, think about it. When you take the time to reflect on your thoughts and feelings, you start to develop a deeper understanding of yourself.
Oh, you mean like what makes you tick?
Exactly. You start to see patterns, recognize your triggers, identify your values, and that increased self-awareness can be so empowering. It can help you make better choices, set healthier boundaries, and just generally feel more in control of your life.
I can see that. And all of this is happening during a time when you're already going through so much personal growth just by becoming a mother.
Exactly. So journaling becomes this incredible tool for navigating that whole process. And of course, let's not forget the fact that it creates a tangible record of this incredible journey.
Your own personal time capsule.
And think about how meaningful that will be for your child someday. Imagine them reading your journal entries, getting a glimpse into your thoughts and feelings during those early years.
Oh, wow. And you can even write directly to your child in your journal, right?
Absolutely. Little notes, letters, whatever feels right.
I love that idea. And the Lestallion journals with their high-quality wood-free paper, those entries are going to last for years and years.
They're like heirlooms.
They are. It makes you think of my grandmother. She kept these little notebooks for each of her kids. And she'd write down all these little anecdotes about them, funny things they said, milestones they reached. Years later, she gave those notebooks to her kids, and they were priceless.
Because they captured those everyday moments, those tiny details that make up a life.
They did. It wasn't about perfect grammar or beautiful handwriting. It was about the heart behind the words.
Exactly. And that's what makes journaling so special. It's not about creating a polished product. It's about capturing the essence of your experience in all its messy, beautiful complexity.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's this. Journaling, especially during the transformative journey of motherhood, is an incredible gift you can give to yourself and to your child. It's a way to find your voice, to process your emotions, to document this unique chapter of your life.
And to create something truly meaningful that you can look back on for years to come, even share with your child someday.
Exactly. And if you're thinking about starting a journal, or maybe you've tried it before and it didn't quite stick, take another look. There are journals out there, like those from Lestallion, that are thoughtfully designed with features that can really support you in this practice.
So remember, in the whirlwind of new motherhood, your journal isn't just recording memories, it's actively shaping how you remember and experience this extraordinary time. What story will you begin to write for yourself and your child today? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.